If you are looking for a profitable side hustle you can start, congratulations to you, you have found this video. I'll be teaching you how to make two different kind of cookies, chocolate chip cookies and butter cookies, how to package them, and also how to market them, and also give you the cost breakdown. So let's start with chocolate chip cookies. In a bowl, you are going to add sugar and then you are going to add margarine. Why should you use margarine? Because you are selling it. Margarine is more affordable. So I'm adding honey to this because I don't have brown sugar. If you have brown sugar, you can add it. But since I don't have brown sugar, I'm adding honey. It gives you a similar taste. So you're just going to mix everything together until it is pale. When it is pale, you know that, okay, this is ready for your cookie. Then you are going to add an egg into a bowl and you beat the egg. Then you set it aside. Then in a bowl, you are going to prep your dry ingredients. So I'm just going to add flour. The recipe measurement will be in the description box. So I'm going to add baking soda to this. I added salt and then I'm going to add baking powder. So that's our creamed butter and sugar and honey. I'm going to transfer it into a bigger bowl to have more space to be able to do our cookies. So I'm scraping everything from the bowl to avoid wastage. So in that egg we set aside, we're going to add vanilla extract to it to just give it that bakery feeling. Yeah, please add flavor to your cookies. So we are just going to mix everything together and then we are going to add the egg into our creamed sugar and margarine. So that's our dry ingredients. You're going to pour it in it. Then using your spatula, you're just going to mix everything till it is well incorporated with one another, that you will not be able to see the flour and the butter. So you can see that everything has actually incorporated with one another. So I'm going to add another set of the egg. Why you are doing this is because you don't want it to be so overwhelming for you to mix, and you also want to avoid lumps in your batter. So do you understand? So this is the remaining egg. You're just going to add that and then add your remaining dry ingredients. Ensure you empty everything. Mix together with your spatula and you get this beautiful batter. You can see how it is. This is the consistency you want for your batter. This is how you know your chocolate chip cookie will come out soft and chewy. So I'm going to be adding chocolate bars into that, and then we're just going to mix it together. You want to incorporate it. You can see how rich this is. So please, know your words, don't price it down. And then I'm going to add chocolate chips. That was chocolate bars. This is chocolate chips. Your customers really enjoy you if you are selling this. Look at the quality now. Look at it. And I actually noticed that when you mix it properly, like, the chocolate is over going to incorporate it. You can see how the chocolate has incorporated the batter that is even changing the color. So I'm going to chill this for 30 minutes, and after 30 minutes it would have become more firm. Yeah. So for this I'll be using a baking tray, which I'm going to bake in an oven. So you are going to grease your tray. Yes, I greased with margarine and I just sprinkled some flour on it. I'm going to cut out the dough using a measuring cup. For this I used 1/8 cup, and then I'm just going to use my hand to shape up the dough because I want it to actually look really nice and presentable. So you can see how beautiful this is actually looking. And when you do this, please leave space in between each other so that when they spread out in the oven, there will be space for them. The tip you should know is that this chocolate chip cookie dough can actually be stored in the freezer, and when you are ready to bake or when you get an order, you can just bring it out and bake. Simple as ABC. So let's continue. You are going to preheat your oven for 10 minutes and then bake for 20 minutes on low heat, and after that, this is what you get, your beautiful chocolate chip cookies. You can see how easy it actually is to remove from the baking tray, and that is because I greased it before I baked. So look at it now. So you just allow this to cool, and then look at it. So beautiful. And when you open this, because you know that your customer is about to eat good, look at the chocolates. So let's move on to butter cookies. So you'll be adding half cup of sugar into a blender. I will give you the reason why I'm blending the sugar. They are going to blend for 20 seconds. Then you add half cup of margarine or butter. That softens the butter. And then I'm going to add the blended sugar. Why you're adding this blended sugar is that it dissolves more easily in the margarine, and you can see the texture of the blended sugar. And another thing is that it gives you melt in your mouth cookies. So you're just going to mix everything together until it becomes pale like this. And that's how you know that your cookies is about to melt. So you transfer this into a bigger bowl, and then crack 1 large egg, beat the egg, add 1 teaspoon flavor into your creamed sugar, and then you're going to add your beaten egg. You can see how this butter cookies is coming along. It actually looks similar to the chocolate chip cookie, except we blended this sugar. So I'm going to measure out 1 cup of flour into this, and then we're going to sieve it. Always sieve your dry ingredients. So you are just going to use your spatula to mix it. When you mix it properly, this is what you should actually get. So add the last batch of the egg, and then 1/3 cup of flour. Don't worry, I'll leave the measurements in the description box. Then you're just going to mix everything together. Cookies is actually very easy to make. So you can see the consistency of the dough. This is what you want. You can see that the consistency of this dough is different from the chocolate chip cookie. Can you observe the differences? Yes, you can. So this is the piping bag I'll be using to pipe out the butter cookies. And this is a nozzle. So this is the coupler we're going to attach the nozzle on. So I'm just going to put that nozzle on this base and then put it into the piping bag. You can see. Then I will get the screw and just attach it on the piping bag to hold the nozzle firmly. You can see all the explanations. So I'm going to be putting this batter. The chocolate chip cookie is a dough. This is a batter. Do you understand? This is a batter because you want it to easily come out from the piping bag. That is a dough because you are just baking it directly. So I'm just going to pipe this into a greased pan. For this we are using a pot, so you should not make any mistake that because I don't have an oven I can't make a cookie. No, I'm using a pot for this. You can see I'm just going to pipe this. Be creative with your design. Any design you want, just pipe it. So when you get to this point, you are going to preheat your pot for 10 minutes, bake for 20 minutes on low heat. So now, because we're making 3 different flavors of butter cookies, let's move on to the second stage. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder into our batter. When you mix properly, this is what you get. So let's make red velvet. You're going to add 1/8 teaspoon of cocoa powder. Mix it properly. Then you're going to add 1/8 teaspoon of food coloring. The food coloring of choice for this is red because it's red velvet butter cookies. So when you incorporate properly, the color will mix together. Look how vibrant that is looking. So I'm just going to pipe out the chocolate cookie. Look at this color. Actually, something about cookies is that be creative with your designs, be creative with your color. If you like green, use color green. If you like chocolate, use color chocolate. And another thing is that Christmas is coming, so you can use like Christmassy colors and just make your cookies with that, and people will buy. There's no how people will not buy. You You can see this is the red velvet cookie batter. I'm just piping this in a pan, in a greased pan. Oh, don't forget to grease your pan. It's very essential. Now I'm creating this love. So during Christmas, during Valentine, you can just make specials for your customers. So when you bake this for 20 minutes, this is what you get. It bakes really fast. So let's move on to packaging and marketing. You can see the vibrancy in the color of these butter cookies. How do you market it? First, you get a brand name. What do you want to name these cookies? So let's use a case study. Asime's Beautiful Creations or Asime Flavorful Cookies. Let's go with Asime's Flavorful Cookies. So you're going to advertise on your social media, post it on Instagram, take really nice pictures of it on Instagram, post it on TikTok, post on YouTube. You can even post on YouTube. You can advertise on your business on YouTube, and you can also tell your neighbors, your colleagues and stuff that I sell this melt in your mouth cookies and I also package it beautifully. What do you want your brand to sell? What do you want to sell as a brand? So do you want to sell it as a gifting item or as a day-to-day cookie? For me, I'll go with a gifting item because of the packaging. You can see you can run up sales during holiday season. It's a gift item for birthdays and Valentine's, and people will actually patronize you. So let's move on to cost breakdown. I used a total of 3,780 naira for 11 cookies. Chocolate chip cookie is actually more expensive because of the chocolate chips and chocolate bars in it. For cost breakdown of butter cookies, I used a sum of 2,730 for 50 cookies. That is actually cheaper because there's no chocolate chip in it. So if you have any question, you can leave it in the comment section. I'll respond to it. Thank you for watching.